Nobody has a prerogative of intellect. We can learn from ourselves, just like you rightly said now that we can learn from the street, we can learn from the government, you can learn from everyday people, you can learn from the rich, the middle class, and the lower class. You can learn from virtually everybody. But let us start from the angle, you're a woman, you're a mother in the house. Let us start from that angle of education that starts from the house. Let me put it in a better word, parental education. Can you give us a definition of parental education, what the parents should do, what they shouldn't do, and what parental education adds to the education of the child?
Yes. Most times parents believe that education is just basically school. And they leave everything to teachers, us.
And that is not, that's not true.
No, absolutely not, because teachers can only do what we can do from 9 to 5, and the children go home. And the most important part of it is for them to go home and learn from us. Living by example. That's the first parental education. We need to teach them to live by examples. We need to act morally in front of our children. We need to teach them the morals of life. We need to teach them how to behave in public, how to behave amongst others, how to act towards each other. That's why we have bullies in schools, because they've missed out on education at home, which is the parental education, some of them. Some parents believe they have to work, and not have time for the yes, and they can't train themselves alone. No, they cannot just rely on teachers. Teachers are there to teach them the basic English,
the academics,
exactly, and not the morals, not the values, not the things like that. We do try to incorporate values in schools, but it's difficult. Yeah, it is very difficult because we have short hours. We have so many subjects now that we have to teach in those short hours. So to incorporate morals, to incorporate social values, we try with social studies, but still is not enough. We need parental education at home.
Thank you.
Very important.
I would still like to go ahead with that element of the mother or the parents back at home.
Yes.
You make mention of some factors that I want to touch on. The element of moral. In most cases, morals are not being gotten from the school system.
No.
It's an home thing.
It is.
Factor in again the element of spirituality. That element of spirituality, I am sure it doesn't come from the school that much. It comes from home.
Because before it used to, I mean, when we were growing up, I mean, they teach us, we go for RE lessons. But all those things are out of schools now because there's not enough time to teach children all those subjects in depth. So this comes from home. Like mommy goes to church on Sunday or goes to mosque on Friday, and they read the Quran, they read the Bible, they talk about God, they talk about why we exist. As you know, those are the things you learn from home, not school. School, they just teach you the basic English. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's a nice one because I am sure I am enjoying it. Your disposition, I'm enjoying it, and I am sure back at home, you are viewers too. You're enjoying it because that is the bedrock of education. It starts from the house. It is us as parents that have a big job to do. She's the head of school. She just told us now that even those hours of 9 to 5 are not enough to teach that child most of the work. The rest of the hours the kid spends at home. So when it comes to morals, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to all the basic things about life, it is you, the parent, that should do that.
Absolutely.
Let's move forward a little bit.
Okay.
Now we're talking about the kid starting out life. Let's say from age 1 to, may God give them long years, like 100. How do we start that element of education in their lives? I know there are some instances people say they get educated from the stomach because at times they tumble, they tell their mothers,
stop it. Yeah.
But the thing is, what are the years of education?
Oh, from birth. When you have a baby, you start teaching them we start teaching them how to talk.
Right.
We start teaching them how to say papa, mama. We start teaching them sit. You start helping them to sit. You start teaching them to crawl, to walk. You know, it just goes on and on. Then when they start playing with each other, or when they start playing with other children, you start teaching them, no, you have to learn to share. You have to learn to play with your friends. You have to learn to, you start teaching them how to behave with other people. You start teaching them how to behave with adults. Teaching and learning is ongoing. till someone dies, I think. So you have to just keep learning. You have to keep learning. And so it starts from the beginning, like from baby to whenever. You just keep learning.
Okay. Let's put in this factor of academics. Now, what years do you think the baby should leave the house, should leave the wings of the mom to say, okay, he wants to go to maybe crèche or all this daycare centers and the rest of them?
I know in Nigeria now I see people taking their babies to school like 6 months, 1 year. I don't believe in that. To me, I believe they should be at home with you, and you should be teaching them basic things at home at that time, because there's nothing much they can learn from there. But from 3 years old, I believe they should be in school. They should be learning their phonics. They should be learning their sounds. They should be learning their alphabets, and being able to be motor skills, to be able to hold pencils, able to hold cutlery, and things like that. So those are the things I think at 3 years old, yeah, they should be able to do.
At that juncture, let me bring in a factor of cognitive mentality.
Yeah.
There is some school of thought that says we should allow the kids to play. When I say play 100%. Play with things, play with whatever. Because their brain is ready to assimilate. Their brains are ready to grow. Their brains can develop on their own based on because I believe in God, based on the factor of God giving them that brain. The development will come from the parent and from themselves. That is why that element of play. How do you value that element of play? In Africa, we call it, you have to play with sand, you know.
We call motor skills, and cognitive, because in the UK curriculum, we believe in learn to play. We play to learn. So we play to learn. So we are not just playing. We are playing to learn.
Okay.
So when you're playing with the sand, we are playing with the sand to let them know about texture. When you play with the clay, we are playing with the clay to let them know about different kinds of textures. We are playing, we are learning through play. So constantly, you are playing at that age, but you're still learning. Because you learn to hold the pen because you're playing. You write alphabet on the sand, you're learning.
That's true.
You say, then you write with the sand. So you're learning to play. So I believe in that play for that age, but in a very educational environment. Do you get what I mean? Like with other children, so
I'm
they
sure
can
your
learn.
listeners too are getting what you mean.
Yes. In an educational environment, not just at home. At 3 years old, they should be able to mix with other children, play, learn to share. Because life is about sharing, and some children don't know how to share because they start school late. So when they start school late, they can't share. They find it very difficult to share their toys. They find it very difficult to share things. Which is very hard. It's very, very hard.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever you're telling me is just not for my consumption alone. Our viewers back at home, I'm sure they're having a great time listening to you. Let's move a little bit further. Now the kid is grown. The kid is now about 6, 7, 8. He's in, we call it grade school. We call it primary school here in Nigeria. But one thing is affecting education these days. These things we call devices.
Yes.
What do you think we can do about it? Because these devices are making a mess of education, making a mess of our children. Some of them are not even, the education hasn't sunk into them. They believe more in these devices than anything else. No. You are the head of school and educationist. For God's sake, what is your advice to parents to start with?
For my school, we don't allow it. If you bring it to school, we seize it, and parents know about it. They've signed agreement on that. You are not allowed mobile phones or any iPads. We allow iPads, which is the school iPad, because we use it for learning.
Educational.
Exactly, and we have strictly people monitoring it, and we have devices to pick up if you go on YouTube or things like that. So we do use iPads in school, but it's school-made iPads. But we are not allowed mobile phones because it distracts students. It really, really distracts them, and it's taking away the joy of studying. When we were growing up, we used to enjoy studying. We used to enjoy reading books. But this has taken away all those fun. And we used to go together with friends, and we come and say, okay, let's read, let's revise together. It's nothing like that. Yeah, exactly. No, library's gone. Library's gone now.
Well, you were talking about those
days. Those days. Yeah.